this conversation to happen the way it has. You know, we started getting into this situation long ago. I even recall that about 3-4 years ago, the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources undertook a campaign about the effect of illegal mining. I am not sure that many people took notice of that. I recall that at that time, some military people were sent out there to arrest and seize arrest people and seize some equipment. And in fact, some foreigners who were found to be involved in the activity were also deported in the full glare of the media and everybody. I don't think we took serious attention to that. At that time, I'm not sure the media really picked it up the way and the vigor with which they have now picked it up. Now, I also see that long before then, any effort to try and talk about the effect of illegal mining would always elicit the reaction. Well, how about the large-scale miners? Why don't you focus on them? We don't, so that discussion always got diluted. So it was very difficult to really raise those issues at that time. So, and of course, because of the desire to ensure that our people got jobs in the mining sector, there was not much said in a way that should have been said far earlier. But I think it is better late than never. You always needed a strong political will to push this, because obviously this has to do with employment, with job creation and all that. So there were always the political overtones in this. So by and large, I think that we have been a little too late, but not it has not been never. They say never better late than never.
We'll talk about those political undertones in a bit, but let's talk about the Minerals Commission, its general mandate, its vision and mission statement, which includes the fact that you want to make Ghana a destination of choice when it comes to mining activities. You'd also want to make this place a safe environment for mining, efficient and effective utilization of our mineral resources. How well do you think the Minerals Commission has performed as far as that is concerned?
I think they've performed pretty well over the years. If you go back to the days before the establishment of the Minerals Commission, I will tell you, Ghana's gold production was very low. I think it was about, the annual gold production was about less than 300,000 ounces. In 2012-2013, Ghana produced about 4.5 million ounces. And from that 300,000 ounces or so, we have progressed in terms of production.
But look, while we see progression in the amount we produce, we haven't seen much of a progression in keeping the environment safe.
No, I thought you wanted me to point to you some of the things that have happened over the years. And of course, then we come back to the challenges. I mean, we've seen all the minerals doing well. Okay. And let me also draw your attention to the fact that until 1989, the Minerals Commission had nothing to do with small-scale mining. Okay. There was actually the small-scale mining was not legalized at all. So there was no law allowing for small-scale mining to take place. So the focus was more on large-scale mining to attract more investment in the large-scale sector. And that's why you saw the coming in of Gold Fields, which is about the 4th largest gold producer in the world, Newmont, which is about 3rd largest gold producer, Anglo Gold, which at the point was the largest gold producer in the world. Now I don't know where they're positioned. But you see, so we attracted all these big wigs. And then, and so that was the focus. We have also done things like having policies, stable policies. We have had good laws that have been revised and all that. So these regulatory things have gone very well. Ghana used to be one of the most attractive destinations for mining investment. If you look at income into the country. And I must quickly say that one would argue that, well, we haven't had enough of what we should get. But in terms of income to the country, the mining industry is the #1 domestic revenue contributor in this country. They are also and they have been #1 foreign exchange earner in this country for a long time. So yes, and there's some good employment. Maybe the numbers may not be as you wanted. Maybe 27,000 Ghanaians employed in that area, and that the quality of employment there is also good because of the kind of remunerations that are paid in that area.
But along with that came the challenges, the fact that we haven't kept the environment as safe as would expect it to be.
Yeah, you're right. But if you look at the large-scale side, we haven't had that much worries about the large-scale production and the impact on the environment, because in this country, we do have processes that manages the environment. In fact, before you get mineral license, you must have demonstrated your program
on the large scale level.
Yeah, on the large scale level.
Okay.
The challenge we have had is the small scale and largely the illegal side of things. I mean, I've always said that there's no law that allows for mining to take place in water bodies. No law. But we do see them. The laws allow for people who want to mine properly to acquire licenses genuinely and work. There are some of our own people who have had the licenses and manage the environment well. You can go to some of the registered small-scale miners who have mined and rehabilitated. We have seen some registered small-scale miners who have even undertaken significant corporate social responsibility activities. We don't showcase them, and that's again the problem. We don't celebrate them. Then we have a large mass of operators who choose to do the illegal things. Now the challenge has been, if somebody is doing illegal mining, who stops him? I think that has been the challenge. Is it the Minerals Commission or who else?
We'll get into that bit of the conversation about which we should do about the illegal miners or even the small scale miners who may be going wayward, and who should do it. But let's look at the procedure again. Even for the large scale miners, a lot of times the conversation is being that we are, as a community, the host community does not get what it's supposed to from the miner. Again, the conversation about, well, these people are mining in our community. We cannot measure how safe they are mining in our community.
Well, as for the large scale, you can measure, because there's constant inspection, and there's a requirement. There are laid down rules. The way mining is done in Ghana is not too dissimilar from the way mining is done in Australia. I mean, talking about the large scale ones, because these large scale companies are held to account that is similar to what happens in their own backyard. In the past, we used to think that way.
What do we usually ask them to do as a way of keeping the environment safe?
No, the procedure is this. Before you are given your license, any license at all, if it is reconnaissance and reconnaissance, you don't do significant, you don't actually mine, you just pick soil samples, you just take water. Sometimes you only fly some high resonance plane to just pick data. So, and even that, you need to demonstrate to the EPA that whatever you do on the environment, whatever your impact is on your environment, you will remediate it. Now, in prospecting license, which is where you do some digging, you do some pitting, you can do some drilling and all that. That one too, you need to demonstrate to the EPA how you will remediate the environment. And the EPA must be convinced that what you're proposing works. Now, in the actual mining, apart from demonstrating that you will do concurrent rehabilitation, you also have to post reclamation bond. You have to put money in advance, and this money is kept by the state, I mean EPA, so that in the unlikely event that the large-scale company is unable to rehabilitate, then there's money there to rehabilitate the environment. So I think this is very similar to what happens in other jurisdictions. So that area, I don't think we have issues that much. We don't really have that much issue.
Do we have separate or different requirements for small-scale miners, so much so that small-scale miners could be, the source of our worry?
I think the issue is not a difference. The issue is getting them to do it.
Okay.
Obviously, because there has been efforts to encourage our own people to mine, there have been government efforts previously to encourage our own people to mine. So you would assume that the same strict supervision that goes with large-scale companies may not be the same for small scale. But however, even with small scale, the EPA require you to demonstrate your ability to rehabilitate. Now, you normally have to come and tell the EPA in writing that this is the way you're going to do, and the EPA must be convinced before they issue you with environmental permit.
But in both cases, when we say that the EPA must be convinced, it sounds as though it's only on paper. But beyond that, what happens?
That's what I gave you two scenarios. In the large scale scenario, there is constant follow-up. You know the EPA.
So what is the challenge with small scale? Why can't we have the same constant supervision with small scale?
You're talking about an estimate of about 1.2 million plus small-scale miners working on 25 acres of land for that, for mining. You I don't know the staff that EPA has. And then also, you're talking about our own people who do that and probably do it quickly and go. Before you would say, Jack, the person has finished mining and gone, so his license is no more valid.
Okay.
Maybe he should have been arrested and then made to come and rehabilitate. There are those, I must say, there are those who have the license, who are doing it properly, and they are rehabilitating.
But it appears they are on the minority side.
You are correct. They are on the minority side, and there are those who just go to some villages, see some landowners, they get the land, and they start mining. You see, when they start mining, you must locate them to be able to question them. Because the person goes to some village in some location, and then it sees, some don't even probably see anybody, but let's say that the person sees the local chief or the landowner gives up the land, sometimes even farmers give up their farms, and the guy comes to mine. He mines. The EPA guy, the Minerals Commission guy, may not even know where the person is, and then they will mine and go away. And then the holes will be there.
But should it be difficult to trace these miners? Because as part of the license, they are supposed to identify and come and tell you that this is the place that we feel we want to mine. And so if you're looking for them, you should go there.
Meaning, if they were the registered ones, you can always find them. The registered one. In fact, we traveled with the minister recently, and I have also traveled to visit some of these operations. And some of the small-scale miners, they go to the full end of rehabilitation. They finish, and then they rehabilitate some plant things. There are some areas that we visited that had turned into oil palm farm and all that. So for those who are under regulation, it is not difficult, because if you run away and you have our license, your name is there, your company, then we can trace you. But we have a large mass of people who do not have the license. The issue is, when you see them, what do you do? That's probably the question. Because if the person hasn't come to you to apply for a license, then the person is conducting illegal mining, is undertaking illegal mining.
Absolutely.
Pure and simple. Now, the question, and this time it is very sensitive, because it's like institutional competition, or if someone is doing something illegal, for instance, if someone is mining in waterbeds where no license is issued, right from the get-go, it is an illegal activity. An illegal activity must be, the Minerals Commission, who may have seen it, should work with the police to get them out or arrest them.
But how often does the Mineral Commission see and actually report to the police?
Many times. I'm sure I could show you, I didn't know that you were going to ask me this question. I could show you what we do. Because the Minerals Commission hasn't got the power of arrest.
Absolutely.
We don't have the power of arrest. So when somebody is committing illegality, what we do is to report to the District Security Committee, which is the committee that handles security in the district. And we go there because they are closer to where the illegality may be committed. Now, we don't leave it over there. Some of these things we don't publicize because that's our job. So people think Minerals Commission hasn't do anything and all that.
But can you blame the people who think that the Minerals Commission cannot do anything? Let me give you a typical example of the recent...
If I will explain. If I will explain before you come to the recent visit. So now you do that and you escalate that to the National Security Committee. Okay. That, well, we have told these guys, but the national people know about this and then follow up. Sometimes we write reminders. That's, I don't know whether we could go further than that in a hugely populated illegal mining area. You can, and then of course, as I told you, Minerals Commission doesn't regulate only small-scale mining. Absolutely. In fact, that is the smallest part of their job, but that is the most expensive part of their job.
The most challenging for us.
Yes, because we are dealing with people who are not under regulation, who today, if somebody wakes up and says, I'm going to dig and mine for gold, how would the Minerals Commission officer, who is probably, if it's in Takwa area, living in Takwa in the day, know that in the night somebody went to a village to do it? Or even for several nights they've been doing it. And let me tell you, we were going around with the minister recently, and we got to one of these sites. The guy has a pump action gun. The illegal miner, they had a pump action gun guiding the place. Imagine sending a Minerals Commission staff there and trying to engage in any unfriendly conversation.
So would you want your men armed also?
No, I think we should. I mean, it's something that we are seriously proposing. We should create a police force because this has become so big. And it's getting out of hand.
But we had a special task force. Were they not working with men?
So then it wouldn't even come back to us if the special task force was working all the time.
But how can this task force be effective if it does not include your men on the ground?
No, that's what I'm saying. They should set up a special police force. Okay. Not task force. Because a task force, it's like when your tax is finished, you're gone. You see, a special police force, which is part of the police system. But their specialization would be on the mining side. So they can go anywhere to even question you when you are mining. Where is your license? If you don't have, like we do on the street when we ask drivers your license. If you don't have, then the law must come at you. You see, I think this is one of the proposals that we are making, that we should look at probably setting up special police, within the police service system.
A special force
that can that's a permanent force.
Have officers of the Minerals Commission ever been part of any task force that was put out?
But the task force, the officers of Minerals Commission are part. They are part. In fact, even from the lower level to the higher level, the Minerals Commission, because they know which licenses are genuine and which licenses are not genuine. So they are part. So the issue is that, do we implement that? Do we go? And Minerals Commission cannot command the police to go anywhere. Okay. We don't have the power to say, oh, somebody is stealing, so go and arrest. You can only tell even if you report, the police may have its own program.
Let's talk about your men. We'll talk about the police attitude towards a lot of the reports that you have made.
It's not the police. It's actually the national security committee.
The DISEC, REGSEC,
yes,
and then at the national level also.
That's right.
Now we'll talk about their response to a number of the reports that you have made to them over the years. But let's discuss your men first.
Yeah.
Recent visits. One was drunk. Many others had no idea what was going on in their district. What's your reaction to that?
I wish I wouldn't have to comment on this. The guy who was drunk or appeared drunk. Because Ghanaians, all of us are lawyers. So you say, how do you know that I was drunk? Did you breathalyze me?
So allegedly was drunk.
The guy was allegedly drunk. It appeared that it was a carryover from a previous one. But he was with us all throughout. He did his work and all that.
Okay.
The issue of the difficulty is that if you are not careful, I mean, we seem to be contradicting, and the minister's position is right. But I mean, the Minerals Commission not knowing, I think it is difficult because they know. They have records. I think if you're looking at a sector that keeps good records, you will count the Minerals Commission.
So what happened to your men that day?
If you take somebody, let's go here. You go and so who is operating, and the person doesn't constantly go there. So we say, it is either this or that. I need to check. It happens. I mean, for me, that particular instance, it is difficult for me. It's unfortunate that it happened. But I tell you, the people there, they are. I'm not just defending them. I came to meet them. I came to meet them, but they are good quality people in terms of what they know and what they can
But
do.
it's not just one.
Yeah.
It's not two. It's not about a few of them. It's 9 of them have had to go on suspension.
No. I think we haven't identified 9 on suspension. I think based on the observation by the minister, that is why he's saying 9, because there are some people in the northern region who are also and the guy who was done was not an inspector. He was a small scale mining officer. So it went out.
What's the difference?
The difference is that
the
inspector goes out there to look at mining and check if it is safe, if it's environment. But a small scale officer helps the small scale miner. He's like an extension officer, and he doesn't go even to the large scale operations. He normally deals with the small. But that's not the issue. The issue is that if you were drunk, then on the job it is not
unacceptable. But okay, you agree that it begs the question, the quality of people who are on the ground to deal with some of these challenges that come with, the mining sector.
Well, they say there's a saying that say when one sheep gets something, it affects everybody. It is very easy to assume that way. Yesterday, when we were in the Takwa area, I saw that our district officer there, this is small scale mining officer. It is a huge area that he has to supervise as one person or 2 persons. Huge area, and of course there are a lot of risks in that job. There's a lot of risk in that job that we sometimes discount. So
you think you're under resourced?
I mean, this country, we are still. In fact, if you go to the police now, they will tell you.
Is the commission under resourced?
Yes. In fact, our minister has seen that, and they've taken some steps already. That some things would have to be done. He has even asked for some budget for consideration. So definitely, the commission is under resourced, and then the mandate of the commission needs to be probably understood. If your work and the same activity occurring outside the legal framework, it becomes
I've
very
heard you make that point a lot. I would want us to discuss your mandate, which also includes compliance in a way.
Yes.
But before then, while we're on the issue of some men having had to go home, when it came up, there were those who were also calling for a chop of your own head as well.
No, I mean it is a common. In fact, when that happened, I also felt it about myself because
you thought it was an indictment on you.
No, I am a responsible leader. I have been in various workplaces, and it's been in my own view and in the view of some people who look at me positively, I've done relatively well. So the instances that led to this was sad, and I put myself in that shoe. Some of them, the 9, some of them, and actually we haven't finished with paperwork and all that. That some of them maybe in the northern region. We haven't gone there to see the activities, but it's like if A is doing that, then it may probably the rest. So I think there are issues.
So as for resigning, you are not going anywhere.
Oh, you want me to resign?
To those who are calling for your resignation because of all that has happened.
Those people they didn't resign. But the point is that we are doing something that a team, the Minerals Commission and the ministry are jointly doing it. We are supporting this thing. In fact, most of the trade and all that. We are, and look, a lot of initiatives that we made, they are part of the MMIP that we are implementing. A lot of initiatives that internally we have discussed and even written to the ministry and all that. But you see, when you are here at the commission and you are in the public service, I'm happy that I'm learning these lessons in the last minute. It is not very, very easy because you may know what to do, but you may lack the resource.
So what is your response to those calling for your resignation?
Of course, nobody has called for. I haven't seen anyone calling for my resignation.
Well, at the time, those men came up.
If you are calling for my resignation, are you calling for my resignation?
No, at the time.
Of course, people were angry.
The issue came up. Yes.
People were angry, and so obviously they would think that okay, if the poor ones are going to suffer, then no, but they are not being sacked. They are not being sacked. What the minister said that I understood was that they should proceed on leave for him to understand their role, and if they can convince him that they do what they have to do, I believe he would reverse his thought on that. But and again, this is an action situation. Everybody is passionate about the situation.
Absolutely.
Everybody is angry about the situation. We are all angry. Part of the reason that I agreed to be here was also to help solve this illegal mining thing. So this is one single thing that I feel so sad about, because since my being here, a lot of things have happened. A lot of things, and maybe you are not going to go into that. A lot of things have happened.
We hope to go into that.
But the illegal mining side, which is a sad
if you can remember top of your head, how many licenses have you issued for large scale mining?
And let me also say that Minerals Commission doesn't issue licenses.
Okay.
Because oftentimes people make themselves, Minerals Commission, they are issuing licenses left, right, and center.
Okay.
We don't. We process the license application.
Okay.
I think since 1989, I'm sure we'll have about 1,000 small, but the 1,000 small scale.
How many of them still?
Which would be 25 acres of land. Yeah. So how many of them
are still in existence? How many of them are active?
The active ones, I'm sure the active ones, I'm sure maybe hundreds. No, yeah. There are people who take the license, but they are unable to work. There are those who take their license as a gimmick, because our licenses are based on site. If you apply for a license in this space, this is where you should work. But some people take the license and they go somewhere else. Now, if anybody came who was not a Minerals Commission staff, he would look at us. So me, I have a license. So look,
and then that's it.
And then
would figure out how to deal with that problem. You're watching State of Affairs. My guest tonight is Dr. Tony Obin, Chief Executive of the Minerals Commission. We've been discussing the issue of miners in our country that seems to be creating bigger problems than expected. We've also looked at what could be the problems within the sector that is creating this bigger problem. But we'll continue to diagnose the problem when we come back from this break. What we intend to look at now is the issuance of licenses. And let me put the figures here. Now, for a problem area like the small scale mining, we have about 1,000 licenses out there. Now, the less problematic area of large-scale mining, we have over 240 licenses out there. Why do we continue to give licenses to small-scale miners so much so that we have so many more licenses out there for them than we have for large-scale miners who we can properly regulate? That's a bit of the conversation we want to look at when we return. But don't forget that State of Affairs is brought to you by Cowbell Coffee. My name is Kemini Amano, and I'll be right back with more.
Drink our coffee, smile and have a sunshine day. Everybody, do what you're doing. Smile and have a sunshine day. Everybody, do what you're doing. Your smile will bring a sunshine day.
Drink up
the celebration. We're together. Join your hands in harmony. Everybody, do what you're doing. Smile and have a sunshine day.
Everybody, start every day with delicious, nutritious Cowbell coffee and have a sunshine day.
Everybody, drink our coffee. Smile and have a sunshine day. Woo! Post-acute food supplements to improve urine flow in men. We hear you so frequently, no more straining in urination.
Some few months ago, life was very tough for me as a man. I had a problem with urine flow. The urine does not flow the way I wanted. My bladder is often not completely empty. Sometimes I just embarrass myself. Until I was introduced to Prostacure from Medimosis Prostate Center.
Prostacure from Medimosis Prostate Center is a well-formulated food supplement acclaimed worldwide to improve urine flow. Now available at all pharmacies, filling station shops and shopping centers nationwide. Contact the Accra and Kumasi branches with the numbers on your screen.
Visit our new branch in the AESL building, opposite Ministry of Roads and Transport, near Pension House, Accra.
Prostacure food supplement improves urine flow in men.
Welcome back. You're watching GHOne Television. This is State of Affairs. My name is Kemini Amano. The program is brought to you by Cowbell Coffee. And did you know that not every coffee milk mix contains real milk? Did you also know that Cowbell Coffee contains real cow's milk with all its inherent nutrients, as well as one of the best grades of coffee in the world? That's why Cowbell Coffee is Ghana's #1 coffee milk drink with its rich, delicious taste and exciting aroma. Cowbell Coffee is a smooth blend of nutritious cowbell milk and very high quality coffee with a touch of sweetness. Cowbell coffee milk can be taken any time of the day as your beverage. Just pour your Cowbell coffee milk into a cup, add hot water, stir and enjoy. Your favorite Cowbell coffee comes in both sachet and 400-gram tin. Always insist on the original Cowbell coffee. Look out for the Cowbell inscription on the sachet or tin. Remember, there's no substitute for your favorite Cowbell coffee milk. Cowbell Coffee, the original coffee milk drink, is brought to you by Promasidor Quality Food Products. Let's come back to our conversation on mining activities in the country. We are coming to you not from our studios, but from the offices of the Minerals Commission. My guest tonight is Dr. Tony Oben, in case you just joined us. Dr. Oben, we've looked at a bit of the problem, but another side of the problem that seemed to rear its head now is the issuance of licenses. Now, before we went on the break, I gave some figures about the fact that we had about 1,000 licenses out there for small-scale miners. Those we couldn't necessarily regulate as best as we would want to. But for those we can really regulate, the large-scale miners, we have only about 240. Why does it seem as though we have more small-scale mining licenses out there?
Okay, small-scale mining licenses are for areas of 25 acres.
Okay.
So when you say one, it is 125 acres. For large-scale license, like prospecting license or things that you may have as much as 100 square kilometers.
Okay.
So that's bigger space than the small-scale mining areas. They are just small-scale areas, 25 acres and all that. So the number should not be that scary if they were to do it properly.
Okay.
If they were to do it properly under the supervision of our extension officers, because those who do that, if you go to Bibiani, you would see a groups that are doing it well under the supervision of our staff. Even in the area where the guy was found to have been involved in drinking or something.
Okay.
Even there, we saw some areas where the small-scale miners, some of them under our license, have rehabilitated the grounds, and it's okay. But the large mass who do not get the license, it's not among the thousands, or who may be among the thousands, but not mining on the grounds for which the licenses were issued. They are the problem.
Considering we haven't managed to regulate that subsector too well, why do we continue to issue licenses until recently when a temporary ban was put on it?
You see, the law, if you are working in an organization like this, you also have to respond to government policy, government direction. If government hasn't said, don't issue any more licenses, as a regulator, you cannot just say you want. You may advise that maybe we shouldn't issue licenses, but it is not within your power to say that. The minister says, do not accept any application, which is a government instruction. We have to obey that, which is good, because this could have been said earlier. You know, some time ago, we placed a moratorium on the processing of new application for gold mines. In fact, we did, because we wanted to know the licenses that existed. And I mean, when I joined, I saw.
Did you need the power of the ministry at the time?
Yeah,
to do
we
that?
can't stop. It is.
So
it's
in
always
the
minister.
fight against these small-scale miners who may be going wayward, at what point did you advise the ministry, which is also part of your mandate? At what point did you advise the ministry that, look, let us put a moratorium on issuing licenses or processing licenses for small-scale miners?
For the past, we haven't done that. What we did, the proposal we did, was to review the whole small-scale mining sector and see what is causing the biggest challenge. We saw excavators as a major challenge in terms of the environment. So we proposed a tracking device, so that if an excavator were being used in an area that has not been apportioned, then it can be remotely stopped. This will happen. This is part of the multilateral mining integrated project. We also proposed, and I mean that, given that the industry has grown, instead of apportioning small portions, we should rather sanitize the system, get people to form proper companies, and get medium-sized mines that will work as though they were large-scale mines. For me, the difference between large or medium-scale mine should just be the scale. It shouldn't be the form. It shouldn't be the way people work. Yet people have abused that side.
So will I be correct if I say, with what's going on now, those pieces of advice you gave the ministries involved in this sector were not taken?
Well, sometimes you don't get all you want done. Don't forget that, a government, when a government comes to power, it has its own objective. Some would even, and that's part of the problem we have gone through historically. There was complaint that small-scale miners were not getting land. And so effort must be made to get them land in the past. You know, so if anyone came and said, I have, you know, the policy is not like stop mining. The policy is let people mine if they mine, if they can mine properly. So that was not the situation. Indeed, if people hadn't started doing this on our water bodies, which is completely illegal, and if the media hadn't come out with these pictures that we saw and having bombarded this in our eyes for a long time, we probably would still be sleeping, because you will not even take it if we told you that we are in a bad situation. Since when did we start talking about the challenges of the water? I mean, you recall that some 3 years ago, some Navy people got drowned in Takoradi in the Pra River, just trying to chase illegal miners. That thing happened. That was it. You recall that there's a village called Chichere in Dunkwa area where about 30 Ghanaians got drowned in a pool of water, and there was a media issue around the dead people and all that. Discussion ended. I think, unfortunately, sometimes you have to get to a certain level where now you say enough is enough. I believe,
you think this is the?
I believe this is the, because look, me personally, in my previous life, I have written, I have done, I've led studies and discussions.
You mean before you got into public service?
Yes, before, yeah. And then we have, you know, but nobody listened. Nobody would, you know, when things are in that situation, I am sure these things that are happening, there will be someone who will say, oh, what is happening? Because you never listened. And again, when you go to the areas of mining themselves, their attitude is a little different. In fact, if you go to a mining area now, apart from the issue of mining in water bodies, they will tell you, no, this is our business, we want to do it. And so if you are, let me say, if you're a government, you want to come to power and say, when I come, I will take these things out of you.
I mean, these are some of the political undertones you refer to, but how far-reaching are these political undertones in terms of interfering with the Minerals Commission's ability to deliver on its mandate?
It is far-reaching. It is far-reaching because I'm sure you recall about 6,000 or so illegal small-scale miners going to Anglo Gold's concession, the underground. It is not even, you know, on the surface, underground. It took the Minerals Commission an effort to negotiate them out without any incident. This is something we are not proud that they went in there, because they shouldn't have, you know, but they went there, they occupied there, they were there for 9 months. It took the Minerals Commission's efforts to negotiate. We had to form a committee that we gave a name like Movement Committee. It's like, it looks like JA Movement Committee, and then we had to negotiate with them. We had to make sure that they would leave the place without costing any life, because Ghana is also a signatory to the voluntary principles on human rights. So you couldn't use force, violence to get them out.
How do we deal with those political undertones?
Well, I think the best way we are dealing with this is when the media, which is an estate.
Can't you say no to the politician who pushes you?
It's a good question. For me personally, I have said no before. I think some people have also said no before. I remember when I joined and I was very, you know, you come from the other side and you are like a little too radical or something. I got there was a memo that said all applications must come through the ministry. And then I asked my staff, why should that be so? Oh, minister has written, so we can't do anything about it. I said, is that lawful? Is that what the law says? Then they told me no. I looked at it, then I wrote to the ministry and said, this is, you know, it's not in line with the process, so it is not right to do it that way. Of course, you are dealing with a minister appointed by the president, so he's more powerful than you. But by and large, you have good relationship. They understand the issue.
Is it so hard to say no to the politicians when they pile pressure on you?
My dear, there were times when people were arrested. When you were in the country, you reported this. When machines were seized, and before you could say Jack, they had to be let go. And this, I must say that it's been across board, you know. So now that the media has come in, and the media, and I'm not saying Minerals Commission is innocent. Okay. We have our own problems. We, apart from the resource problem, we have moral problems also. We hear about some of our guys sometimes conniving and all that. Sometimes you don't have the fact, so you can't deal with that as effectively as possible. And you know, in public service, you also can only twig and turn, and unlike private sector, where you can just fire easily and all that. So these things are serious. And it's only when the media, which appears to be neutral, came in and said, look, now we can't allow this to happen. So now everybody is quiet. The Minerals Commission has been blamed and is still being blamed. The politicians have been blamed and they are still being blamed. The chiefs have been blamed and they are still being blamed. The security forces have been blamed, are still being blamed. So this is good. It is not comfortable, but it is good for the country. At the end of the day, we will do the right thing.
I want us to wrap it up on issuance of licenses. How does it happen that some of our licenses for small-scale mining end up in the hands of foreigners, particularly the Chinese?
One, there is no law in this country that gives license to foreigner, in the small-scale mining.
Absolutely.
We have our own Ghanaians who front, because you will never be issued a license to Mr. GHOne or a company that is established outside for small-scale mining.
But if there were checks and balances, would know and revoke those licenses.
No, you will know. You will know. And you know, yesterday, this morning, at a certain meeting, somebody asked if some miners from some countries, in Chinese, have been selling gold to the PMMC, and the PMMC managing director said no. Because the Chinese will not go and sell it
directly.
Yes, our Ghanaians ourselves will go and sell and claim that it is our gold. So we must also be patriotic.
But what have been the efforts at driving the Chinese out of our small-scale mining subsector?
You see, we've seen some task force was organized,
but they keep coming.
And you know the near diplomatic row that it's almost creating. Not long ago, there was a Chinese delegation from China who came to meet our minister, and our minister was very blunt. Our minister told them that you can't go to China and take soil from the ground, let alone mine. The minister was very blunt with them. You know, he told them that look, we cannot go to China and do what is happening here. Now, the thing that has to be understood is that Minerals Commission will not invite anybody from China to come and mine, because we won't give them the small-scale mining license. We are not immigration people, and when we see people doing illegal things, we can only report. I will show you later on, if you care, letters that we have written, that we have indicated that we have seen people working in some areas who appear to.
Madam Hisense, media sempa baby o. Wakasa na yetie. Say Hisense King Kong phone. Apa mo bibia. Your Hisense King Kong 1 and your Hisense King Kong 2 and your Hisense King Kong 3. Still, Hisense King Kong phone. Insurance yo insurahiase. Ensio tona se show bottom na de na mu a. Uni how enye hwe. Hisense King Kong battery check. Ne one day afe ena ne bo da form tutumi kako Hisense showroom bia ne kwajo King Kong 1 2 or 3 Madam Hisense matete so mo say who afe frey 0302 550000 Hisense, everyday prizes for everyday people.
Everybody drink our coffee, smile smile will bring a sunshine day.
Drink up
A celebration, we're together. Join your hands in harmony. Everybody, do what you're doing. Smile and have a sunshine day.
Everybody start every day with delicious, nutritious cowbell coffee and have a sunshine day.
Everybody, drink our coffee. Smile and have a sunshine day. Woo!
From the first industrial action in 1919 to the last in 2016, workers continue to find their voice to demand more pay and better conditions. This is a struggle that will continue and only stops every 1st of May as the world comes together to celebrate our hard work. GHOne recognizes workers and say Ayiko. Tune in on May 1 for the best coverage. GHOne News, Beyond Barriers.
To end our conversation here, but just before we end it, so we've given them 30 days, and then after that, what happens?
Well, I'm tempted to say nobody knows when.
Nobody knows tomorrow.
Well, yes, nobody knows what happens, and when you are given the opportunity to do things voluntarily, it means that there is an action that will come after you if you don't take advantage of that.
How about the riverbeds that have been polluted? How are we going to make sure
it is going to cost government, but we will have to, because all of us have been part of this thing, and therefore we will have to all make sure that if they leave, we believe that if they leave, first of all, and it rains for a few period, it will naturally
so we are
improve.
waiting for the natural process.
And then if there are other processes, we are also investigating other processes that will speed up the whole thing. Now, what we need to do is to get them out of the water.
First.
Once they go out, then we'll see what happens.
We'll leave it here. Thank you very much. It's been insightful speaking to you, Dr. Obin. Dr. Tony Obin is Chief Executive for the Minerals Commission. Well, that's where we end our program for tonight on State of Affairs, brought to you by Cowbell. My name is Kemini Amano. You can watch a playback of this interview on our Facebook page, on YouTube, and on GH1TV.com. We'll see you same time tomorrow. Good night.
State of Affairs was proudly brought to you by Cowbell Coffee.
From playing all your favorite hit videos to bringing you the exclusives in the world of entertainment, we bring the party closer to you.
Let's get crazy!
Rhythms Live, James Hart's music show presents Rhythms Dip and Splash. The official weekend pool party happening on the 29th of April, straight up at T-Lounge.